Look at this. Look at this. These three handsome faces, huh?
It's beautiful.
What's going on?
Can't get rid of us.
Can't get enough. What's up, everybody? Eddie here. Don, Jim, that rocks. Just when we thought we were out, they pull us back in. Like the Godfather 3. Yeah, it's good to be back with everybody here on That Rocks. We talk to people and see people all the time that watch and listen and ask us about doing this, and fun to do it from time to time. And we got some good content, don't we, Donnie boy? We got an interview that we know for a fact is not going to have bad audio or video.
Well, we don't know that for a fact, but hopefully Joe knows that for a fact. And we should have 6 great tech-free interviews, all from the Monsters of Rock cruise in the coming weeks. So, yeah, it's going to be really exciting. We got some great guests coming up and still more to interview. So we'll be here for a while. And now I can't hear Eddie. Here we go.
Yeah, we got us 6 of them from the cruise. You know, we had all those guys on the ship. I figure might as well interview them while we had them. You know, we're hanging out with them and stuff like that. We found a nice quiet spot in some little lounge on the ship. And, you know, we did the interviews with them. Yeah, so Mark from Accept is our first one. We've known Mark for years.
Yeah, and Jim, you and I tomorrow are going to, there we are in our, well, I'm in my beachwear and Mark's in his beachwear, but yeah, and we got a bunch of them coming in, and you and I are going to interview Wolf Hoffman from Accept tomorrow, so that'll be in another episode. So you're going to get plenty of Accept in the coming weeks. Their new album, I finally got to hear the whole thing. Really, really good. Super excited for it.
By the way, that was hysterical because when I said no,
he just cut off again.
Oh, no. He's back out again.
Yeah.
Oh, so you got an advanced copy of the Accept record?
Yeah, I'll send it to you as soon as we get off. Actually, I'll send it to you while we're talking. But yeah, it's great, man. It's really, really good. It could be the best one since Blood of the Nations in terms of the ones Mark is singing on. But that's the new album. It's called Humanoid. And we saw them on the Monsters of Rock cruise. And I mean, dude, it's so metal, man. It's like, you know, there was I saw a thing Wolf Hoffman was saying in an interview, he didn't want to be classified as heavy metal in the early days. And if you really think back, you know, they weren't kind of that much of a metal band. They were sort of more of a hard rock band until they really fine-tuned those razor sharp riffs that they were known for over the years. But they are full on heavy metal. They're the definition of heavy metal to me.
Yeah, the first Accept record, the self-titled one, then I'm a Rebel, that was more like hard rock and stuff. But then when they Breaker, they started getting way heavier. And then, you know, Restless and Wild came on after that. And that was, you know, probably their heaviest record. So, yeah, they completely changed their sound to more of a heavy style. So, no, I'm looking forward to it. That's good. And Wolf's great. Yeah, the band is just insane.
It's funny, too. Phil Schaus, who's been playing bass in the band now for a bunch of years, he cut his hair, so it's like when you go see Accept, it looks like Keith Urban's in the band.
Yeah, I didn't know, I didn't recognize him. I haven't seen Accept in a long time, so I didn't know who that was with the short hair playing. Yeah. But he was unbelievable. I didn't know that the guy used to have long hair. And yeah, I don't know when's the last time I saw Accept.
Yeah, but you saw him on the ship.
Yeah, I did, but I'm saying before that was probably about 6-7 years ago, I think, out in L.A.
Oh, really?
Is where I saw him. Yeah.
Yeah. Should we tease some of the other guests that are coming up that we talked to on the cruise? Glenn Hughes, right?
Glenn Hughes, Rudy Sarzo, Tim Ripper Owens.
John and Joey from Armored Saint. There they are right there. Yep, Ripper Owens we talked to. And you and I saw KK's Priest recently, which was talk about how absolute metal. That's heavy metal in a nutshell.
Yeah, and Jason McMaster we also interviewed too.
Yep. And there's Jason and Glenn meeting for the first time. That was funny too, like because we sort of tried to stagger people, but then some people came a little early, and it was funny to see who was geeking out over who. So remember Jason was like, "Oh my God, Glenn Hughes just walked in the room. You got to introduce me."
Yeah.
Everybody was trying to geek out over everybody else, so that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Welcome new member Tara. By the way, I just saw that on the comments over there. Welcome.
Well, what's I'm so psyched for the Pretty Reckless opening for AC/DC over in their European tour, doing stadiums. I saw that a couple days ago. I couldn't believe it. I was so happy for that band. I mean, Taylor Momsen, and just performing in front of stadiums, 70,000 people. That's going to be great.
Yeah, and the three of us are friends with Taylor and Ben and those guys. So, just on a friend level, we're so psyched for them too. Not only is it a great combination, and you have Taylor Momsen, who, is this child star who always wanted to be a rock and roller, and she's all of about 90 pounds, but she'll command stadium-sized stages. And be larger than life. She's that good. I mean, you and I saw her last at the Bowery Ballroom, which holds maybe about 500 people in New York. But we've also seen her on big festival stages, and she's unbelievable.
She's mesmerizing on stage. She really is. Like, you just can't keep your eyes off her.
Yeah,
she's that good. And the band is great and stuff. So that's great that they're doing that. And then. Skid Row going on their 9th singer now.
Somebody say something about Eric Gronwall leaving Skid Row. See, I knew it wasn't going to work out as soon as I saw the guy's name. You know what I mean?
Why? Because it's not a metal name, Eric Gronwall.
Yeah, it's like Sebastian Bach's a cool name. I know they're not going to bring him back in the band, but it's like, who was the other guy too? There was another. That ZZ Top guy or whatever his name was.
Yeah, Zh guy.
Yeah, I'm like that's not going to work out.
From Dragon Force, right? Wasn't he from Dragon Force?
Yeah. Eddie's texting. He can't figure out how to get into the show, Joe. So maybe you can help him.
But he's restarting his device.
All right.
Okay.
But I guess Eric's been having some, obviously some health problems, so we wish him the best. Unfortunately, he has to step away, but these guys, I guess it opens the door. They're going to certainly hear it from the fans. Come on already. What are you waiting for? Let's do this with Sebastian. But who knows? I mean, they seem to be able to insert anybody in there who could sing these songs. They have household hits, songs like my mom and dad would actually recognize. So, when you got a catalog like that, sometimes maybe you can just throw whoever in there. I don't know.
Yeah, well, Lizzie Hale's going to fill in for the 4 dates that they had booked, which is going to be great. I know she's good friends with Rachel, right? They live down there in Nashville.
Yep.
So no, that's gonna be great. Lizzie's got an unbelievable voice. She'll do great. I was looking at the dates. I wish they were on the East Coast. I can go see that, but it's in like Iowa, so I won't be able to see them. A couple of casinos out that way.
It'd be almost worth the road trip, Jim, to see
maybe
with Skid Row.
True. Yeah, I'll have to check into that. Now, I don't think they're gonna do Sebastian. It would have happened years ago. I still don't think it will happen this time.
I don't think so either, Jim. And this is nothing that I have inside word on or anything. They would have pulled that trigger. They have tried to pull that trigger. That trigger is unpullable, apparently. But I guess you never say never. So we'll see.
Well, the thing is, it's not like a Guns N' Roses situation with Axl and getting back together with those guys. Axl's version of Guns was doing arenas. Then it got down to they weren't doing great numbers. It was dwindling, probably down to like 3,000 to 5,000, seats. So it was a perfect timing for them to get back together, to go back in arenas. But if they get Sebastian back in the band, Skid Row's not going to do arenas. So they're not going to go from, 1,000 or 1,500 that they're playing with to 20,000.
No, I agree with that. But you could go on a good 2-year run if they could all get along and make a ton of money. But
Eddie
Can
will
you
know.
guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Eddie,
Amazing.
can you hear me?
Just when I said no technical problems, everything goes down.
All right.
So Eddie, we're talking about would Sebastian be back in Skid Row? There obviously, if he did for some reason, with Eric being out now, Lizzie filling in the dates, they wouldn't do arenas if they got back together. So, I was saying with Guns, when Axl got back together with, then they started doing arenas and stadiums. So, they probably would have done it years ago. That's what I'm thinking. I guess he didn't like my question.
No, I get. Yeah,
He didn't want to hear it either.
Hey, let me give it a quick. I'm going to just a quick aside because I saw Brian Hartley, who's been a member here for 8 months.
Yeah.
I owe Brian a public apology. I accused him of heckling me in Columbus, Ohio, but he did not indeed heckle me, and we made up on the Monsters of Rock cruise. And there's this comment about our comedy show on there. And so thank you, Brian. And thank you for not heckling me anywhere, whether it's on the boat or not. And hold on, let me put my roommate Eddie Trunk on the phone.
That's fine.
So,
but yeah, I mean, I guess so. Skid Row could go on like a 2-year run, right? Doing festivals, headline the Monster Rock cruise. They could do stuff, but I mean, they probably wouldn't do new music. Sebastian's got a solo record coming out that he's been working on, so I mean, that's already done.
Yeah, I think he'd be more than happy to push that to the side. But because the thing is, like, if it was going to happen, Jim, it would have happened. What was it? 4 years ago, 5 years ago? It's it's hard to remember with COVID because you lose a couple of years in there. But they had finally agreed to sit down and talk, and the discussions started, and they never even got to the first show. So if they couldn't get to the first show the last time, I don't see them planning a 2-year world tour. So and your manager is Doc McGee, who's one of the most powerful guys in the business. So if he can't get it done, I don't think anybody could get it done.
So if Skid Row's doing like 1,000 to 1,500 right now, somewhere around there, what would they do if Sebastian got back in the band? How many? 5,000? 4?
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, but you're right. It wouldn't bump them up to arena levels, but they would do every festival in America, every festival in Europe. So they could go on a good run. But it's like watching sports. If your pitcher hasn't thrown a strike in 20 pitches, it's probably time to take him out of the game. He just doesn't have it. So, Eddie, you back?
For the second, I mean, I don't know what's going on. My stuff's all messed up today. What else?
I thought, I asked you a question about Skid Row and Sebastian, and then you went off the screen. I thought you got offended by the question.
No, I just got done talking about it for 45 minutes on the radio. So what are you guys talking about?
Well, we're just saying, like, they wouldn't be bumping up from selling 1,000 seats right now to arenas, so it's not going to be a huge bump in money if they put Sebastian back in the band.
No, they would never be an arena headliner, but they do probably double or triple the business that they're each doing right now easily, and they make crazy money outside of America, and certainly headlining some festivals or high up on festivals. Look, do I think it's going to happen? Probably not. But and some of the stuff I talked about on my show earlier is that Sebastian hasn't said anything yet. Now, obviously, this just happened today, but he is really like super pumped up about the fact that he's got this solo record, which is the early response is really good. He just went over 1 million views on the first video. So, we all know that over the years, Sebastian has been like very pro reunion and then at times very anti reunion. I'm not saying for a minute he wouldn't do it, but it's weird timing because he's so amped up about this record. At the end of the day, it's crazy. Yeah. I don't think we've ever seen a band that's had this many singers changing. I just don't think, even though they've dabbled with the idea over the years, as much as the fans want to see it, I'd be shocked if they did it.
Yeah,
I remember that famous quote by Sebastian when he's like, "I guess the guys in Skid Row, they just don't like money. I guess that's so funny about getting back together. They just don't like money."
There's so many sides to it too, because there's obviously the business side. Because remember, a deal would have to be made, and that's where things can go south. Like, hey, I want this, or I need a piece of this, and I'm not giving you a piece of that. There's the personality side. There's just so many different parts of it. Do I think it should happen? And look, I love all those guys. You know that. Yes, I do, because nobody's getting any younger. And I think there's a very short window on how much longer they could potentially do this and have it be good. Because no matter what people think of Sebastian, he set an incredibly high bar in terms of fronting the band and his vocals. And he's not a guy that's been sitting on his ass for 30 years. He puts out records every couple of years. He tours nonstop. He can still do it. But how much longer when you're in your late 50s can you sing in front of a band like that and have it be good? So I do think the window's closing. And I do think if they were ever going to do it, it should be now. And I said on the air earlier on my radio show, I'm like, if I was them, I'd be like Pac-Man in a video game going around the world, taking every dollar, and it's what everyone else is doing. Kerry King and Tom Araya haven't talked to each other in 5 years. They're playing 3 festivals. I mean, look, I know it's not all about money, but make it while it's there, man. Nobody's getting any younger. Make the fans happy. And so what if it implodes in a year? So what? There's changing singers every couple years anyway. Go make the money. I would.
Yeah. But Eddie, here's the thing, and you talk about Sebastian's solo album. Believe me, he would push that thing to the side in 2 seconds. Kerry King just did that with his solo album in Slayer. So, you're right. You got to go make the money, but and Sebastian can still sing. The problem, Ed, is on the other side of Sebastian. Once he's back in, it's going to be almost impossible to sell somebody else now coming into the band after Sebastian's been back in. It's the whole Kiss thing, right? Kiss Unplugged. Once they broke that seal and let the old guys back in, they were stuck with them.
Who cares, Don? If you're 62 and you just made a few $1 million from touring, so what? Call it. Go do solo records. Go do a different band. Have fun. If you can go do a run for a year or two, and you can all put a couple $1 million in your pocket or whatever it ends up being. You've been doing it 40 years. Okay, great. I think all of us would sign for that, and then go do some other creative stuff. I just think the window's here. It's closing rapidly. I think going to a 5th or 6th different singer, I don't care who it is challenging. Look, again, I love him. I thought Eric had a great voice. I love the record they made with him, Gang's All Here. I really do. But do I think it's going to happen? No. Do I think now would be the perfect time? Yeah, maybe not for Baz, because like we said, he has a record. But like you said, so does Kerry King. And again, they're going to just do these few shows. I think it'll be fun seeing Lizzie sing the stuff. Obviously, she's not the long-term solution, but she was a Skid Row fan. And that'll be fun. I'd love to catch one of those shows. There's only 4. But I think that's a cool. That's like I said on the air earlier. That's like a way smaller version of when Axl subbed for Brian Johnson. Just a temporary thing. But the long-term solution, what do I think is going to happen? I think they're going to find another guy, known or unknown, and keep going, Skid Row. What do I think should happen? Make the fans happy, make a ton of money, and so what if it implodes in a year? Half the bands out there hate each other.
But Ed,
half the bands out there travel on separate buses, play in hotels. Go do it. Get what you can out of it. Make the fans happy. Put some money in your pocket and see where it leads. It could be over in 2 weeks, but you know what? To me, that's the move, at least to make everyone happy and see what happens. But maybe not themselves happy, but make a lot of money for themselves.
Yeah, but they couldn't even get to the first show the last time that they sat down and talked. So to think that they could now put together a 1 or 2 year run, I just don't see it happening. But
I don't either. But I think the conversation should be had. They both have very competent managers. The guy who's managing Skid Row right now is an old friend, our friend Rob Hoffman. I don't know if you guys know that, but Rob is managing Skid Row now.
I thought it was pulled back.
Sebastian's manager is one of the biggest managers in rock right now, Rick Sales. He has Ghost, Gojira, Slayer. So have a conversation. I mean, this is what you have good managers for, to navigate and negotiate that. And if you want to do it, and if it happens, let the respective managers deal with their people. Like Guns N' Roses, a much bigger example. Slash has his own team. Duff has his own team. Axl runs the thing and has his team. Deals can be made. Slayer, Pantera, the list goes on and on. These are competent managers behind the scenes. And if they want to do it, there should be a way to carve it out to make it work if everybody's reasonable. But again, if you're asking me, I don't think it's going to happen, but I'd love for it to.
What you say, a 20% chance? 10? What percent?
I don't know. If I'd put it at 20.
Okay.
I think that, and look, I haven't talked to anybody. I mean, I haven't talked to anybody, but because it just happened today. But just knowing what I'm knowing, and I kind of was the last couple of times it got close. I know things that happened. Again, people got to be reasonable. People have to have reasonable expectations. I mean, the thing, Sebastian's thing is like, I haven't been in the band in nearly 30 years. They keep judging me off of what I did when I was a kid. Things are different now. I don't know if the guys trust that. The guys are like at a point, like, I don't want to deal with drama and craziness. I don't know. It's very complicated. So you got to get the personality thing sorted, and then you got to get the business side sorted. Because that's the other thing. What if Baz comes and says, well, I want ownership of this, or I want a piece of this?
What they should do is,
that on a business level, that could derail it immediately too.
Behind the scenes, what they should do is, if they're thinking about it, just get in the room for a few days and hang and just rehearse and see if they got it, see if they get along. You know what I mean? Go out to dinner and see if they can rekindle that old flame. You got Kiss is out for now. They'll probably be back in a year and a half. These big headliners, Ozzy said there's slots for Skid Row to make a lot of money when these big headliners are going away. There's like you said, this is the time.
There's big demand and big money for people, things that people know that they haven't seen in a long time. Look no further than Creed. That band was out of commission
Limp
for
Bizkit.
10 years. They just sold out 2 cruises. Yep. They're doing amphitheaters, arenas. There was a huge division between Stapp and the other 3 guys. They're sucking it up. They're making it happen. There's a million examples of that. Tom and Kerry haven't talked in 5 years, and they still haven't talked, but they probably won't talk. Kerry even said we probably won't talk before we even on stage, but they will make it happen for the fans. And let's be honest, the wallet. So why not? But again, that's my big thing is the window's closing, man. It's like you can't ask if you ever wanted to do it. You're still going to get a really good Sebastian Bach. I see him all the time. He sings the stuff constantly. But the wall's going to, he even said, he goes, I may have to start using tape soon as I get older, and you don't want that. So let's, now's the window. We'll see, but I'm not holding out hope. And it's crazy when you think about it. It went Johnny Solinger, Tony Harnell, ZP, Eric last 2 years, and now, temporarily Lizzie Hale, but we know that's not the full thing. I also thought it was interesting they announced they're going to put out a live album with Eric singing on it, which is unusual to put out a live album with a singer that's not in the band anymore. But I don't know if that's a contractual thing or what. But yeah, it's definitely a crossroads situation, I think.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we got to get to our interview, I think, here.
Hey, real quick, though, because my thing glitched out, and I know you touched on it. You mentioned about Taylor and Pretty Reckless opening for AC/DC. That's so cool. That's a great call by AC/DC. We all love Pretty Reckless. And I actually texted her yesterday and congratulated her. She's like over the moon about it, obviously, but what a huge score for them. So congrats to them for landing that incredible opportunity. Unfortunately, no U.S. shows, but if you are taking a road trip to go see AC/DC, it's definitely a great opening slot for them.
Yeah, that's amazing slot for them guys. I'm excited too.
All right.
So you guys were talking about Accept, right?
Yeah,
a little bit. We're talking about the new album coming out soon, and we're seeing them on the ship, and and we're gonna interview. We got Mark that we interviewed a few weeks ago from the cruise, and we're gonna interview Wolf coming up. I guess the new record's coming out in a couple weeks, or is it in April?
April.
Okay.
Yeah, I heard the whole record. I had the whole record. I don't know if you guys heard the whole record, but it's really good.
The what?
What?
The what? I heard. I'm going to send it to Jim. But our buddy Mark, nice Jersey boy, been fronting the band now for quite a while.
Look what I'm wearing in honor.
There you go.
Nice.
Too quick. For people who aren't familiar with them, that's Mark's band from back in the day. Great Jersey band. Check out their stuff as well. And pre-order Humanoid now, and then it shows up in a couple of weeks in your phone or whatever, or you get the vinyl like me and Eddie.
I'm getting the cassette.
Yeah. Right.
Getting the 8-track.
I can't believe people are buying cassettes. That's ridiculous.
It's a thing.
I mean, come on.
I
can see the album for the art, and it's big, and but brings back memories and all that stuff. But a cassette,
same thing. Bring back the memories, the nostalgia.
That's just a joke.
I agree, but it's a thing, man. Any way they can find to sell you shit, they're going to sell.
I'm glad I never got rid of my cassettes. I still have like 300 of them. Well,
I got 30 years of radio shows on cassettes, so I definitely got stacks of them too.
Well, 280 of them I robbed from Columbia House at BMG. I used a fake name.
10 titles for a penny.
Oh yeah, then never acknowledge them again.
Remember, they actually used to give you the penny too. Like the penny would come taped on the.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Or at first you had to tape it and then send it, but then I tried to do it in my real name and they denied me. They said no. They rejected me. I go, okay, so then I put Jim Marino, and I got friggin' 13 Metallica cassettes a week later. It was beautiful.
You used to get cassettes sent in the mail?
Well, I got cassettes, then I got CDs, and then I got DVDs, and so I used them for DVDs too. I didn't do the albums. I wasn't doing them when they were doing albums. Columbia
I did
House.
them when there was vinyl. I didn't know they did. DVDs for them.
Oh yeah, well DVD, yeah. So movies, I was like, all right, because I had all the VHS stuff, and when DVD came out, all right, I get it on DVD for free.
Yeah, they had it on Laserdisc too.
Yeah, I never went to the
Laserdisc. You guys ever have Laserdisc?
No, but I still have a VHS player in my storage unit.
Laserdisc was the vinyl equivalent of movies because they were the same size. And you had to flip them and all that sort of stuff, and they were like $90 for like one movie on Laserdisc.
Yeah. All right. Well, you want to get to the interview with Mark?
Let's do it.
Are we going to talk after it, right?
Yeah, we'll come back and do a recap.
All right. And we got to thank, we should thank Neil for shooting this for us, right?
Yep. Neil Lim Sang.
Yeah, Neil is one of the photographers on Monsters of Rock cruise, and he was nice enough to shoot us doing these interviews on the ship. So,
and Joe Schaefer too. Shout out,
Joe. Yeah, thank you, Joe.
Friend here, Jersey in the house.
Jersey
all four of
syndicate.
us right here.
Look at this.
Our good friend, Mr. Mark Tornillo, lead singer of Accept, is in the house.
Crushing
Good to see
set
you.
last
Just
night.
crushing 2 performances on the cruise. I called it the Metal Avalanche when I introduced the band last night because that's what it feels like when you're out there in that audience. It's unbelievable. How's the cruise been for you? Enjoying it?
Yeah, man, having a good time. I'm done singing now, so I'm really gonna have a good
Well,
time.
you guys did back-to-back nights. Usually they spread them out over the course of 5 days.
Yeah, they changed the schedule a couple of times, man. So they're still changing stuff, you know.
It was so crazy watching you last night. I remember watching you, I think it was probably like 1983 at the Fountain Casino.
Oh, jeez.
That band, Big Richard, you had a bud in your hand and you're fucking singing Accept and AC/DC songs. And then last night you got a bud in your hand singing Accept songs.
It is what it is, bro.
Nothing
You know what I mean?
changed.
Old habits
Nothing's
die hard.
changed.
41 years later, doing the same,
Old
drinking the
habits
same
die
beer,
hard.
singing the same songs.
I actually came across a video that somebody posted a couple of weeks ago of, at the Birch Hill. There was a TT Quick reunion show, and we were doing Son of a Bitch. And I think it was 1991.
Really?
He's like, yeah. I'm going, oh my God, I should have just brought it and showed it, but you know.
How many years have you had this gig now?
So I joined the band in 2009.
2000, so
it's
15
gone on
years,
15
which is
years.
crazy because I remember, I'll never forget this, Mark calling me up and saying to me, hey man, you were doing some work at my house, because Mark's an electrician as well. And I remember Mark going to me, hey man, so I think I'm joining Accept. And I go, what? And he goes, yeah, I'm going to be the new singer in Accept. I'm like, what are you talking about? And you came over to my house and you played me the
I played you
Blood
I
of the
played you
Nation
Blood of the
stuff.
Nations, yeah.
And I'm like, holy shit. And now that's 15 years ago, which is just nuts to think about. But you know, from where I sit, I mean, you've actually ushered in a whole new era of Accept. I mean, when you look at the set list, half of it is stuff from your records.
Yeah.
And I make the argument that, to me, Blood of the Nations is a modern metal classic. And that was your first record.
That's
with
my
the
favorite
band.
Accept album.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's amazing that, you know, you got to feel really good about you've really written your own chapter with this band. You're not just a replacement guy now.
No, well, that was the deal. I mean, when I joined a band, Wolf and I and Peter sat down and talked about it. And I said, look, I don't want to go out and just be, you know, live on your heyday stuff. I think we need to make meaningful records, you know. And so that's what we did. And you know, when we first started writing Blood of the Nations, you know, the internet was going wild, going, nah, this is terrible. It's gonna
Oh, right,
suck.
because wasn't there a little clip out there? Or
Oh
something,
yeah,
I think early
yeah,
on.
yeah, it was just.
Oh, it's a clip of you singing old songs.
Yeah, it was from
Rehearsals.
It was from the day I actually went and jammed with them the first time, and I was sick as a dog. I sounded like shit, and somebody put the freaking thing online. I was like,
right.
come on, would you please?
Yeah.
So I don't know whose idea that was, but
You had a leak in the system.
Could
but
you?
they're like, this guy's terrible. And it's like this. I'm like, boy, we better write one killer ass album.
Yeah.
And then Andy got involved, and he was like, no, because we were writing, and Andy got involved, and he's like, nah, this is not what we want. Come here. He took everybody that listened to all the old records and said, this, and this. This is what we want, and it really changed the direction of the way we were writing. So
Yeah. Andy
you know.
Sneap. Yeah.
Andy Sneap.
Could you ever?
Another Priest member? Yeah.
Yeah. And he's almost the sixth man in certain groups.
Yes, he is.
He has a way of crafting that very metallic sound.
Yeah, he does. And
The Saxon and Priest, obviously. And guys.
he's very involved in the shaping of the songs as well. You know, not just the production, but you know, lyrically sometimes and musically. You know, he's got a lot of good ideas always. So,
Could you ever envision because now how many albums have you done with Accept? This is your
this is
fifth?
number 6 coming out.
6. Could you ever
Humanly.
envision doing shows of just your era?
I would love to,
No,
but
I think.
but you can't do that to the fans.
Yeah.
You know, that's the thing. You know,
Even in
there's
Europe,
certain
though, 'cause
songs you
Europe-
gotta play.
Europe
you know?
more wants to hear the newer stuff, not so much the old stuff. The States is more, they want the hits,
Yeah.
usually.
Usually, but you know, like we'll do the festivals this summer and be like a completely different set list.
No, it should, because, you know, Udo went on his 5-year tour of all Accept songs. Then he came back, did it again. He goes, no more Accept songs.
He's never gonna do them again.
He did like 2 shows. He goes, oh, they're good. They want to hear Accept. I got to do Accept. So even him said, no more after this.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, no comment.
He said that 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you can't get away. You can't get away from the classic
You
stuff.
can't.
But it does, with 6 albums of your own now, Humanoid coming out. You did that song live for the first time here on the cruise,
Yep.
and then so you've got your 6 records, and then you've got all the classic stuff, and that becomes the problem with set lists.
Well, yes,
because
there's so much
how do you do
material.
it? Because even everyone plays a little shorter on their sets on the cruise,
Yeah.
but you guys, when you do your own headline show, you play a good 2 hours.
Oh, yeah, at least
it's a
2
long
hours.
set,
Yeah.
so you can put a lot in. But here, you really have to kind of pick your spots.
Yeah.
And you did change from the 2 sets.
Yeah.
You changed out some songs.
Did a little different last night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys pulled out Neon's Night last night. It was unbelievable.
Neon Nights? No, we didn't do Neon Nights.
No, what did you do?
Demon's Night.
Oh,
Demon
Demon
Night,
Night. That's right,
yeah.
Demon's Night,
In the
yeah.
beginning.
And what'd you call that? The riff
Flash rock.
orgy?
Riff orgy.
Riff
yeah.
orgy. Just
Last Rockin' Man,
Yeah.
Losers are Winners.
Yeah.
That's a good way to consolidate stuff a little bit.
Well, it's a
right?
good way to get more songs in. You know, we started doing that at the festivals 2 years ago, just to get some more of the classics in.
Yeah.
You know, so
We just talked to Ripper, and of course, you know, kind of a similar situation for him, where he, of course, went into Priest and had to deliver the old
Yep.
stuff and then make the new stuff at the time. And for you, you know, I asked Ripper of the old stuff, what was the most challenging thing for him to sing? When it comes to old Accept, the stuff that you weren't a part of,
Right.
is there anything that's in the set list you're like, oh shit, I got to do that one?
well, the things that are the hardest are where you don't get to breathe. Like Shark is a hard song to sing just because it's so many words.
Yeah.
And there's no place to get in the air. So it's like, that's a try. You know, it's like, that's the hard stuff. I mean, there's nothing really that's in the old stuff that's hard to hit. I think I painted myself into a corner with the stuff I do in the studio, you know?
Oh, yeah.
So, but no, the classic stuff is not really that difficult to sing for me. So,
Do you still do the same warm up? I remember in the TT Quick days, it was
the towel, yes.
crank down a Budweiser and scream into a towel.
Definitely beer and a towel, yes.
That
Still works.
Still works.
It is amazing. I always ask singers that question because you got guys like Ripper who do nothing.
Dio
Did nothing on or off, and then you got guys that have the big warm up, the big warm down. I'll
Cool
never
down.
forget if you ever saw Steve Whiteman from Kicks do his stuff. He does jumping jacks with a towel in his mouth and starts hitting the floor and does push-ups and backflips and screams, and then there's a whole cool down. And then you got guys like Dio that just walk up and do it. Or so it's just. I mean, you don't have that crazy of a thing. You just kind of do a little.
No, I've got a tape I use. And there's no acrobatics. It's just a matter of getting the blood flow.
Right.
You know.
Brian Johnson said the same thing. He said, I don't warm. I goes, the lads would make fun of me if I was warming up. That's what he said. So I don't want the lads would make fun of me.
And Glenn Hughes doesn't warm up either, and he talks all day.
That's insane.
All day.
And talking is the worst.
Yeah.
That kills your throat.
Yeah.
Isn't that great with your wife, though? You go, listen, it's a show day. We can't talk.
Very good.
This guy is happily married how long?
No, I know.
30 years.
30? All right.
Sherry's on the boat with you. I saw her. Yeah. But you still got to text. That's where texting comes in.
Yeah.
True.
You still got to do the text. On that note, we should let him go and get him in trouble over here. But anyway, check out, when's Humanoid out actually? It's April, right?
I think April 28th.
So brand new
It's a record.
Accept album coming with Mark, and the single's out now. Great video
Video's
too,
out
very
now.
cool video.
There's the next single is called The Reckoning. That's going to be out in 2 weeks, I think. So
And I've had a chance to hear the rest of the record, and it's killer, man. The new music, it's same thing when you got the new version of the band making music this good that holds up with like the old stuff. It's hard as fans because the set list is.
It's
a
really
bitch,
hard to
but
pick, man,
What are you gonna
anymore.
do? You're mixing it up as best you can.
And now you got the 3-guitar attack.
yes, we do.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing.
You got Keith Urban in your band now.
Keith Urban, yes. Well, Joel Holster's going to go out with us over the summer. He's going to do South America with us, and then the summer festivals.
He's got the dreamy locks.
And then Phil will be back for the fall tour.
The guy we're joking about, Phil Schaus, who is playing an Accept as one of the guitar players, but he cut his hair short.
Keith Urban.
It looks like- and somebody in one of his other bands goes, "Yeah, he's going with the Keith Urban look." I didn't even know it was him. I'm like, "Is that Phil?" And he's like, "Yeah, he's got a whole different thing going." But great 3-guitar attack. If you get a chance to see Accept play live, go do it. And check out Humanoid coming out in April. Thank you, man. Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
My
Thanks,
pleasure,
Mark.
bro.
Thank you.
Anytime.
Mark Tornillo.
Budweiser time.
Gentlemen.
Appreciate it.
My
Thank you,
God,
Mark,
what a
for getting up early to do that with us.
That was like noon. That was way early for us. But what
Yeah.
a big chooch animal I look like standing next to Mark. Because Mark's like a smaller guy, and I'm like a big animal, and I'm standing there like, I'm looking at that thing. I'm like, I should have been sitting, and he should have been standing. We would have been eye level. It looked like Sasquatch was interviewing him. Anyway, we love Mark. We go way, way back with him. Jersey guy like us, and love TT Quick, his first band, and it's an amazing story. We've talked about it before, but I don't know if you guys did before the interview ran, but when I was checking out, but Mark was like done with the idea of being in a touring rock band. He had an amazing band called TT Quick, Jersey Legends, and had a cover band, played around town. And Mark was a union electrician and was just completely like the idea of being in an international touring rock band. He was older, he was done, he was just like fine with his life. And then had that opportunity. It came out of nowhere for Accept, and did an amazing job and still does in that band. And the story is crazy too, because Mark, for the beginning of his time in Accept, the first half, he kept his job as a union electrician because he needed the benefits and he wanted his pension. And I remember he would tell me he would go to like France and open for AC/DC, fly back, and then resume his union electrician job. And he was totally open about it, which he should be. And it's like, that's the reality for more of these guys than not. So I thought it was so cool that he finally isn't an electrician anymore. Now he just does Accept, and that's it. But, he's not a young guy. And the fact that he hung in there and had these opportunities, I think is awesome. And he kills it in Accept. It's amazing what he's able to do in that band at his age.
Yeah, he was great on the cruise, man. He did, like I always said when he was in TT Quick, man. He never half-asses it when he sings. He is on point when he gets out there, man. So, obviously as a friend, we're happy for him. But I remember him telling you that, Eddie, like playing for 90,000 people, opening for AC/DC, and then a week later he's rewiring your basement.
Oh yeah, he put ceiling fans in my house.
Now, Eddie, so the story was he knew some producer, like a local guy in Jersey, right? And Wolf was doing some recording in a studio in Jersey, and he said, come down and sing?
Yeah, so when he joined Accept, Peter Baltes was still in the band. And Peter Baltes lived in Pennsylvania, not far from where Mark lives in New Jersey. And yeah, there was a producer and engineer, I forget which one it was, but they knew Peter that, Wolf was coming up to Pennsylvania and meeting with Peter and talking about starting up the band again, because, they tried Accept with a different singer and it didn't work. And they with David Reese, actually. So they knocked around the idea of doing it again. And they were like, well, we'd have to find the right guy if it's going to make sense. And they said, well, why don't you try this guy out? And Mark went down there and nailed it. And they were like, well, we found a guy that we think we can make this work with, and they're going to give it a go. And the first record Mark made with Accept, Blood of the Nations, is, to me, a modern metal classic. I mean, that's an amazing record. But I remember he came to my house because I'm not joking, Mark was doing electrician work for me. He wired a generator into my house. He did a lot of stuff for me. And he comes over, he goes, hey, bro, I got to come over and tell you something. I go, what's up? He goes, so I joined Accept. I go, what? And he sat in it was my other house. It wasn't this house. He sat in the basement with me, and he played me some of the stuff from Blood of the Nations as they were making. I'm like, this is amazing. And he's like, yeah. And honestly, man, I didn't know if it was going to work. Not because of Mark. I knew Mark could do it, but I didn't know if it was going to work because I didn't know if people would accept with a different singer. And I think the stuff is so good and the band is so powerful. I really think Mark has won them over.
Yeah, and I love the integrity of, there's the current band. I love the integrity of Mark. He gets this offer to sing for this legendary band, and there's the album we were just discussing, Blood of the Nations, which it is my favorite Accept album. But for him to have this opportunity and to say, but only if we are going to make meaningful music going forward, and that's the kind of integrity that guy has, man. He goes, I'm not just going to go out there and sing the old songs. We're gonna do new stuff if I'm coming into the band. So that's really cool. Yeah,
I mean, they got back together with Udo in like 2006 for a little European festivals and stuff like that, but they never got along with him since like the late 80s. Udo's got like 15 solo records out, so they were completely done. So there's no way Udo was going to come back in the band. So it was good that they got Mark.
Look, I mean, last time I saw Accept, I think you guys were with me, or no, I saw Udo, which was probably like, it feels like a few years ago. It's probably like 6-7 years ago. Udo amazingly can still sing his stuff too. I mean, he was real. I'm not going to discount that. He was really good, but there are these examples, like, you all want the original guys in, but there are these examples where sometimes it is addition by subtraction. Sometimes you get two really good things out of a divide. I mean, we were talking about Skid Row at the top of the show and what's going on with them. And I mean, they've had a hard time holding on to a singer, but I really think that record they made with Eric, the latest record, is really, really good. And I think the music Bach has coming is really, really good. So that, even though me, like everyone else, would love to see that finally come together again, I will say I thought both what they were both doing is really strong. When going back way earlier, when Dio left Sabbath, look what we got out of that. Heaven and Hell and Blizzard of Oz, two landmark records. So sometimes the divide actually, at least in the moment, is beneficial in terms of output.
Yeah, and that song, The Reckoning, Mark mentions going to be the next single and video. My God. That is an instant classic, Jim. I can't wait for you to hear it. I just sent you the album. So
Okay, good.
But yeah, Napalm Records, April 26th, Humanoid. And The Reckoning is just a crushing song.
So what's interesting is they're promoting that lineup that you just saw as the new lineup, but we mentioned there's a third guitar player who is either Phil Schaus or subbing for Phil Hoekstra. So they're going with the 3 guitar attack, even though the photo just shows 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, Joel's going to join him on the European dates that they got coming up. He didn't do the cruise. He was on the cruise, but he didn't do. He was hanging watching. He said he was just hanging to watch and
he was in training. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was trailing like a new waitress. He was trailing to see how everything gets done. So, and obviously Joel's phenomenally talented, so he'll be a good thing. But just like almost everybody now in our scene, Phil has other projects and bands that he does. So, he couldn't make these shows, and I guess Wolf was cool enough to let him go out and do them, and brought Joel Hoekstra in. So people in South America, you'll see that version with Joel.
Man, isn't it amazing? Like, as we speak now, our friend Mike Portnoy is back in Dream Theater, a band that he was out of because he got shit because he wanted to do all these other projects. And now he's back in Dream Theater. And now everybody has at least one other band, if not 3. It's incredible how things change, right? It used to be like if you had a lineup change, somebody couldn't play a show, the show was canceled. Now it's like, can't play, well, we'll just plug in the guitar tech. It's amazing what people accept, and it's amazing how everybody multitasks now. Everybody.
Well, remember ZZ Top, Dusty Hill passed away, and 3 days later they were on tour with his bass tech that looks like Dusty Hill a little. It's got the long beard. And they didn't miss a beat. Look, I saw him over the summer last year, but they said, look, Dusty wanted us to go right back out and do it. Who knows? But 3 days later, they're back on tour with the guy that kind of looks like Dusty Hill with a long beard playing bass. And it was his bass technician for years.
There's too much money on the road. These guys do not want it. That's where the revenue is. They can't give up the payday. I mean, it's just, but I do think some of it's over the top. Like, I do think there are times where you have key members where you just can't sub out a singer on a day's notice and put some unknown in there. And to me, if you make a key change to a lineup, to me, you have to give the audience the option of the refund. You have to say, hey, this person's not going to play with us. We're going to try this. If you want to come, great. We'd appreciate it. If you don't, we understand. You can get a refund before you come in. I think you got to do that. I think it's getting way too loose. No original members. The star lead guitar player is not playing. Don't worry, his guitar tech's going to sub for him. It's getting too out there, man.
You think that will ever happen where they could do that, Eddie? You think that will ever happen?
What?
Like a Ticketmaster will give the money back, a refund, that bands will start doing that?
Most of the time they do. I mean, most of the time there is a window for it. Might only be like a day. It might be before you go in. I mean, some of it's just too much. Like,
but the fans have to also, do the due diligence too, and say, hey, I know let me see, does Foreigner have any original members? Which if they're on their farewell tour, I'm wondering who's saying farewell. Everybody who wanted to say farewell already has over the years. So, you have to sort of, you got to look that stuff up and see who's in these bands now.
No, I remember a classic example, Sabbath on the Heaven and Hell tour. I'm 1980. It's like their 10th date, and I go see them, and all of a sudden, Bill Ward's not behind the drums. It's Vinny Appice. I'm like, who the fuck is that? And I had no idea until like Circus Magazine or Metal Edge wasn't even around then. You had no idea, so they just switched him out, and I still didn't know who it was until like a month later it came out in the magazine that Vinny was playing drums and Bill was out of the band.
Yeah, but those are and you're right, Don. I mean, but they're different things. Like with the Foreigner situation, if you don't know by now that Foreigner hasn't been any original members, then you're just not doing your homework. I mean, come on. I mean, I had Jeff Pilson on my radio show last week, and we talked about this with Foreigner finally being up for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and I was like, do you feel you should have been included? And he's like, no. He goes, we're just keeping the music alive. He goes, and he admitted, and it's what I've been saying forever. Outside of Lou Gramm and Mick Jones, nobody knew who was ever in Foreigner to begin with. Now, neither of those guys are there anymore, so it's more a tribute to Foreigner. The same with Skinner. So people that should know that going in. But I'm talking about, like, I'm going to see Jack Russell's Great White, and you show up that day, and Jack's not in the band. Like, you kind of have to have, like, the guy the band's named after, and if you're still going to try to play, then at least if you're going to still try to pull it off, at least tell the people in advance as they're coming in what's going on. And like, look, that guy's not here. If you want to still come in, great. If you don't, here's your $50 back.
Yeah. All right. Well, we should probably wrap this up because we've got to do a members show also. So
any of our members, stay tuned. We'll be back in a couple minutes. You could join the membership. There's a link right below the video, right in the link there. You could join the membership. You'll get an extra piece of the show, an after show, pretty much. So that'll be coming up in a couple minutes.
You guys got any plugs?
This weekend, Friday, I'm in Wichita at the Cotillion with Tom Kiefer and LA Guns. And this Saturday, I'm in Oklahoma City, same bill, Tom Kiefer, LA Guns. From there, I'm on the Blue Cruise, and then co-hosting both Creed cruises. So I'm on 3 cruises in April alone. Wish me luck.
Wow. This Saturday night I'll be in Point Pleasant, New Jersey. April 6th I'll be in Hartford, Connecticut. April 12th I'll be in Grantville, Pennsylvania. And April 13th in Pottstown, Pennsylvania. All dates on my website, jimflorentine.com.
Where, Hartford?
Hartford. When are you going back to Hartford? Who cares? And look at that. The pre-order now for my new stand-up comedy album, No Sleep Till McSorley's. That's right. Go press the button and pre-save, pre-add, pre-order, whatever the terminology is. I will have physical copies on vinyl and CD available at shows starting on April 19th, which is when it comes out. But go pre-order it now, and let's get that bitch up to number 1 on the comedy charts when it comes out on the 19th. And Eddie, by the way, that I don't know if you've ever been to that venue, the Cotillion in Wichita. I played there years ago. That is an unbelievable venue, absolutely gorgeous. So you'll have a lot of fun.
Well, I've never been there, so that's good to know. But you just played a venue I've been to that's also phenomenal in Green Bay, Epic Event Center. You just did that with Gas.
Yeah, Craig Gass and I
love that venue. My buddy Ryan runs that, and great spot. I was there 2 years in a row with Jackal, and that's an awesome venue there.
Yeah, Ryan Vandersanden, shout out, great promoter in the Green Bay area. And so we played there last weekend, and then Skid Row played there this weekend. So there you go.
Maybe that was the last show with Eric, actually.
Wow.
Yeah, and that was the last show between Don and Gas. They don't talk anymore.
Hey, Don, Jim's waiting for a cassette version of your record. You're not.
Yeah, I know.
Cassette?
Can you get the...
Well, I'll have to talk to Metal Blade, Jim.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, we'll see you guys on the other side.
All right. See you guys.
Later.